Imagine being alone in the vast, freezing wilderness of the Yakutia, one of the coldest and most remote places on Earth. Now, imagine you're trapped in a tiny treehouse with a pack of hungry wolves circling below. This isn't a horror movie. This was the terrifying reality for a young woman named Lena. What would you do? How could anyone possibly survive? Today, we're diving into this incredible true story of courage and ingenuity against all odds. Lena wasn't a seasoned survivalist. She was a researcher, studying the unique ecosystem of the Siberian taiga. Her home was a simple, sturdy treehouse, built high among the ancient pines, her sanctuary and her lab. For months, her life was a quiet routine of observation and data collection. The silence was broken only by the wind in the trees and the distant calls of wildlife. She felt a deep connection to this wild place, respecting its power and its beauty. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the snow-covered landscape in shades of purple and orange, that respect turned to fear. It started with a single, mournful howl that echoed through the forest. It was closer than she'd ever heard before. Her heart skipped a beat. She peered out of her small window, and her blood ran cold. Below, emerging from the shadows of the trees, were figures. Not one, but a pack of wolves. Their eyes glinted in the twilight, and their breath plumed in the frigid air. They weren't just passing by. They had found her. They knew she was up there. And they were waiting. The first night was pure terror. The wolves circled the base of her tree relentlessly. Their howls were a constant, chilling serenade. Sleep was impossible. Every creak of the treehouse, every rustle in the branches, sent a jolt of adrenaline through her. She was a prisoner in her own sanctuary, suspended 10 meters above a hungry pack. She checked her supplies. Enough food and water for a few weeks, a small wood-burning stove for heat, and a satellite phone for emergencies. But calling for help was a last resort. A rescue in these conditions would be incredibly dangerous and could take days, if not weeks, to organize. She had to outlast them. As days turned into a week, the psychological toll was immense. The constant presence of the wolves was a heavy weight on her mind. She could see them pacing, their powerful bodies moving with a predatory grace. They were intelligent, patient hunters. She realized they were trying to wait her out, hoping she'd make a mistake or be forced down by hunger or despair. And despair was a real enemy, as cold and biting as the Yakutian winter itself. To fight it, Lena knew she had to create a routine, a sense of normalcy in an insane situation. She started by rationing her food meticulously, calculating every calorie. Each meal was a small, deliberate act of defiance. She maintained her research schedule, forcing herself to focus on her notes and observations, even as the howls outside tried to shatter her concentration. This mental discipline was her first line of defense. She couldn't control the wolves, but she could control her own mind. She spent hours just watching them, learning their behaviors. She noticed the pack dynamics, the alpha leading the others, the way they communicated. She wasn't just a victim. She was becoming an observer again, a researcher, studying the very creatures that held her captive. But mental strength alone wouldn't be enough. The wolves were getting bolder. One day, a large male started leaping at the trunk of the tree, its claws scraping against the bark. It was a clear message. They were not giving up. Lena knew she had to do something to scare them off, to show them that this wasn't easy prey. She remembered an old trick from a survival manual she'd read. Fire is a primal fear for most animals. Her small stove was her only source of flame. Carefully, she gathered materials. She tore strips from a spare blanket and soaked them in the little bit of cooking oil she had left. She tied these makeshift torches to pieces of firewood, leaning precariously out of her window, her heart pounding in her chest. She lit one and threw it down. It landed in the snow with a hiss, but the bright flare of the flame startled the pack. They scattered back, yelping and confused. It was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. She had found a weapon. For the next few nights, she repeated the process. The fire torches kept the wolves at a greater distance, but it was a temporary solution. Her oil was running low, and the wolves, while wary, were not leaving. They were smart, and they were adapting. She needed a new plan. Looking around her small cabin, Her eyes landed on a collection of metal pots and pans. An idea sparked. Noise. Loud, unnatural noise might be even more effective than fire. The next time the wolves grew bold and approached the tree, she was ready. She grabbed two of her largest metal pots and began banging them together with all her might. The clang echoed through the silent forest, a jarring, metallic scream. The effect was immediate. The wolves flinched, their ears flattening against their heads. They looked up, confused and agitated by the unfamiliar racket. She kept at it, creating a symphony of chaos. For the first time in over a week, the entire pack retreated deep into the woods. That night, for the first time, there was silence, a deep, profound silence that felt both peaceful and eerie. Lena didn't sleep. She watched, waiting. But the wolves did not return. The one. She had used her knowledge, her creativity, and her sheer will to survive to outsmart a pack of one of nature's most formidable predators. She hadn't just survived. She had fought back with the only weapons she had. Her mind and the contents of her tiny kitchen. When the sun rose, the forest was empty. The snow below was a canvas of paw prints, the only evidence of her week-long siege. Cautiously, Lena waited another full day before daring to use her satellite phone. She reported her situation, her voice calm and steady. When the rescue helicopter finally arrived, the crew was stunned to hear her story. They expected to find someone on the brink of collapse, but instead, they found a woman who had faced down her greatest fears and emerged stronger. Lena's story is a powerful reminder of human resilience. Trapped and isolated, she didn't give in to fear. She observed, she thought, and she acted. She used the resources she had, no matter how simple, to create solutions. From fire torches made of blankets to a cacophony of pots and pans, her ingenuity was her salvation. It's a testament to the idea that sometimes the most powerful survival tool isn't a knife or a gun, but a calm, creative mind. What do you think you would have done in her situation? Let us know in the comments below. It's a terrifying scenario to imagine, but an incredible story of survival. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story of human courage, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.